This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Brennan likes fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. Check us out on all of those podcast platforms, especially Spotify. By the end of the year, I want us to be in your most listened to Spotify playlist. So, go ahead, give us a 5-star rating to go with that 5-star frog splash, and leave us a review. Be kind with it. Thank you. Make sure you give a like over on Facebook. Also buy a t-shirt, prowrestlingtees.com/markinout. You can follow us on TikTok at markinout. Follow us on Twitter or X at markinout. And also follow us on Instagram at markinout11. You can follow me, myself, and I on all social media platforms at DavidPTDPT. Chris at CMSweeney85 on Instagram and Chris Sweendog on Twitter. And also follow Brandon at BTTG161. Brandon, how are you?
I am doing awesome as always. I feel like you didn't say this was episode 763.
Did I not say that it was 763?
I don't recall, but it is episode 763. How was your week?
My week was fantastic. How about yours?
It was pretty good. Did you know that earlier this year they opened a brick and mortar Mr. Softy shop in East Islip?
I did not know that.
You ever have Mr. Softy?
I mean, from the ice cream truck?
Yeah, I've never had Mr. Softy prior to this past weekend.
Maybe a long time ago, but I mean, usually I went for the WWF bars.
I
don't know.
Our ice cream trucks weren't Mr. Softies, so that wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I got the double cone with the twist and a toasted coconut as a topping, and I feel like the double cone I got because it's like that's Mr. Softy, but I feel like it's pure novelty, and I wouldn't get it again because I don't think it doesn't serve a purpose, in my opinion. But they replaced Carvel at Citi Field with Mr. Softy, but I've yet to have the ice cream since replacing it.
Mm-hmm.
But the chocolate I don't think is better than Carvel. I think Carvel's chocolate is much better. Their vanilla might be better than Carvel's. And I would definitely get this again. I would get Mr. Softy again. I wouldn't get the double cone gimmick. I would probably just get a single cone with vanilla ice cream and a cherry dip. I feel like that's a popular thing there. I also made more brown butter Rice Krispie treats this week, and I put mini M&Ms in. I'm going to bring those over to my cousin's house. She's having a housewarming party, so figured I might as well make that because they're really good, and the M&Ms I think definitely added to it. So I enjoyed how that came out.
Awesome, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, this week we had action-packed week of professional wrestling, kicking off with Worlds Collide. AAA, Worlds Collide, what an event.
Yeah, which opened up. Penta came out, welcomed everybody to Worlds Collide, and said that he wants a shot at the Mega Championship, so we'll put a pin in that. The first match saw Octagon Jr., La Parca, Laredo Kid, Mascarita, Sagrada, and that was it. Pick up the victory over the LWO, Lince Dorado, and Abismo Negro Jr. I think it was weird seeing the LWO work as heels here, but we're not really seeing the LWO on TV anymore. Like, they're not, like, Dragon Lee's doing his own thing at this point. So it's kind of weird seeing that, but this was a lot slower than the matches you would typically expect to see here. A lot less chaotic, but
I thought that it was definitely solid though, and they had that big launch spot for DJ Ion,
Joaquin Wilde.
Yeah, that guy.
Which, by the way, the Falcon Arrow to Joaquin Wilde from Sagrada I thought was great as well. And also, I could swear Conan said that he used to be with the Colognes, but I really don't think that was El Torito. At one point, he was this character, but I don't think that was El Torito. Mm-hmm. So, after that, you had Natalya.
Like El Torito from WWE?
Yeah.
I don't think that was him.
But Conan, I could swear to God, said that he used to be with the Colognes, alluding to that being El Torito, but I think that was a previous person to portray this character. I think there might have been like 3 or 4 to be this character, so I'm not 100% sure.
Interesting.
You had Natalya pick up the victory over Fabi Apache, which in plain script, it's Natalya, but it's natty. These matches are natty. She controlled a lot of this.
These are natty.
Yeah, and I feel like this match could have even been longer, but because I feel like they were just getting going when the match ended. But they almost fought again after the match, so I have to assume we're going to see more between them.
Yeah, and I think that Natty made a stance on social media that this is Natty, not Natalya, because I think she put out a flyer crossing out Natalya and writing Natty on it. So I hope that this is all going to bring back that Natty, but it was a good way to end the match, I thought, you know. But next up, you had Psycho Clown and Pagano pick up the victory over New Day to retain the championship. Yeah,
I thought this match was pretty.
Pretty even. I think that the part for me that I mark out for is Psycho Clown ripping off that mask, and that was one cool review.
Yeah, that mask that week was really cool. But the spot where Psycho Clown put his arm around Xavier Woods, and Xavier Woods thought it was Grayson Waller, I thought that was really funny. It was also, it was wild to see Kofi Kingston in a match with Pagano and Psycho Clown. It's not as crazy to see Grayson Waller in this match. I don't know why, but Kofi Kingston has been around so much longer, so maybe that's why it's crazy to me. But after this match,
I guess.
And also, at one point, when this match kept going, I thought New Day were gonna end up winning, but Xavier Woods got involved a few times and ended up running off. I guess scared. That's when Psycho Clown ripped his face off. But
right when he whipped it off, he ran off.
Which, by the way, Xavier Woods had something removed from his head. That's why he wasn't in the match. That was
interesting,
crazy thing. I don't know what it was. I forget what exactly it was, but I hope he's doing
okay.
better. Yeah. But after the match, the Wyatt Six showed up and attacked them, which I didn't expect that at all. And they held up the championships. And Los Psycho Circus literally nowhere to be found. We saw them at Triple Mania, and we didn't see them anywhere here. I guess they would have had to have gotten beaten up by the Wyatt Six as well. So
yeah, I guess if they showed up, they were gonna get beaten up anyways.
Yeah,
you know. But I mean, hey, they just weren't booked.
Right?
They're not booked. That's what it comes down to. They're not booked. But next up, you had Mr. Iguana and Lola Vice pick up the victory over the Judgment Day. Everything with Finn Balor, Roxanne Perez, and Lola Vice and Iguana was just... match was very entertaining, especially with La Yesca and Demonito. Yeah. Very entertaining.
Yeah, Mr. Iguana ended up throwing the bag under the ring, basically towards the start of the match. Lola Vice tried to square up with Finn Balor, and he got scared. I like that. I really like that sequence that led to the first armbar from Lola Vice to Roxanne Perez. But Raquel Rodriguez got involved, attacked Mr. Iguana at one point, and then Demonito popped up without Finn Balor, which distracted Finn Balor. People were like, oh my god, it's going to be Dominic under there, which to me wouldn't have made sense at all because Dom was in the main event. But
it wouldn't have made sense.
I think ultimately that's just showing that Demonito it doesn't necessarily need Finn Balor's arm to be alive, I guess. But Lola Vice got the tag. She took over until Roxanne ends up cheating. Mr. Iguana eventually used La Yesca, opened up the bag, which was empty, and Demonito was with Finn Balor. Finn Balor ends up putting him on his back for the coup de grace, which I thought was really funny. And Lola Vice ended up crotching him, so the coup de grace didn't even happen. And then La Yesca did a tope to take out Demonito. And Lola Vice hit Roxanne Perez with that back fist to pick up the victory for their team. Like you said, very entertaining.
Yeah, very entertaining. And Lola Vice keeps on being awesome. And I mean, there's rumors about them signing her sister, too.
I don't know.
I'm not too familiar with her sister, but if she's anything like Lola Vice, I think that would be incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
After that, we had El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. pick up the victory over JD McDonough, Ethan Page, and Dragon Lee to retain the championship. I popped at Conan actually mentioning his history with Ethan Page and TNA with the North and LAX. That's like, you don't really think you'll hear something like that on commentary, so I think that's pretty cool. Especially because, half of LAX are right now in AEW, one's in TNA, and then the North, half is in NXT, half is in AEW. But this match had a lot of action. I think the last 2 minutes or so of this was just like go, go, go. This was very action packed. The swanton from El Hijo del Vikingo Jr. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. to break up Ethan's cover on Dragon Lee, I thought was crazy. And then he hit the Wagner driver on JD and bumped Page out of the ring at the same time. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, solid showing, and I thought that Dr. Wagner really did great in this, and I feel like every moment that I was ready to start to fade from the match, Dragon Lee did something entertaining that just ripped me right back into it.
Yeah.
You know? But next up is the main event of the evening. Dirty Dom picked up victory over Vikingo to become the new AAA Mega Champion. And this was one heck of a matchup, and I mean, before we get to the end of the match, what did you think of the match itself?
I thought this was a great main event. I saw some people who are, I guess, I don't know if they're WWE fans or what, if they're just AAA fans. I saw them saying that this match was not as good for them because Vikingo is just slower now. But I don't think that's bad.
Yeah, that you got to work the style that you're with.
But even still, like, even if he slows down, he's still doing the flashy moves that Vikingo would do. It's just less dangerous.
Yeah,
keep in mind, he was out for a long time with an injury. But later on in the match, that Meteora that Vikingo hit, I thought looked nasty. He dodged a 619 twice. Finn Balor and JD McDonough made their way out, and JD headbutted Vikingo. Dominic hit the Michinoku driver, but Vikingo kicked out of that. And then Finn Balor loaded up Dom's mask, and Vikingo ends up kicking Dominic, which you would think maybe that was going to be about to be the end of the match. Dragon Lee ran down to brawl with the Judgment Day, and they put him down. And that's when Rey Mysterio showed up with a chair. I was fully expecting AJ Styles in this match. Wasn't the case.
True. I didn't even think about him not being involved until you just mentioned it. That's true.
We saw El Grande Americano show up, rip the referee out of the ring after Vikingo basically had the victory after that 630. And Dom finally hit the 619. He hit the frog splash. A new referee ran down, which Vikingo kicked out of. But Vikingo, instead of, I guess, focusing on Dominic, tried to unmask El Grande Americano. And El Grande Americano slipped Dom the gimmick to load his mask. And he hit the headbutt. He hit another frog splash. Got the victory. And then Rey Mysterio had to put the championship around
I was just going to say,
waist.
Before you get to Rey, this ending was awesome. I thought that this ending was so well done. And then even with El Grande Americano, when he slid that piece into the ring, the way that he set that up, it was just so smooth. I had to rewatch it just to see it happen again. It was awesome.
I'm I don't know where. I mean, obviously, I have to assume they're going to do another AAA event for Survivor Series. How do you not in San Diego with Dom as the champion?
Wait, where is it?
It's in. Well, I said I have to assume in San Diego with Survivor Series.
I that would be perfect. You know.
So
I think that would be great.
That was
But
Worlds
like you mentioned.
Collide. What?
Oh, like you mentioned with Rey Mysterio, I love the fact that Dirty Dom, like, first Rey Mysterio just gave him the belt, but I love the fact that that wasn't enough for Dirty Dom, that he, like, legit...
And that's not what Rey Mysterio said, so that's on Rey Mysterio, not on Dominic Mysterio there.
But even still, Dirty Dom, like, nearly pretty much headbutting his dad in the turnbuckle and yelling at, demanding him to put it around his waist. That was fantastic. But what was really nice about it is I feel like internally you can kind of feel that Rey Mysterio is like, I guess the both of them kind of marking out for the moment. And like, I'm sure once they got backstage, it was just really a family affair. And I'm really happy that they're getting to experience this together.
Well then.
Yeah. Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, the Usos kicked off, and they were walking in backstage. LA Knight pushed Jey Uso and said that he thought they were good. They argued later in Adam Pearce's office, and then LA Knight said that he wants the Vision. Adam Pearce sets up a tag team match, but said that LA Knight needs a partner he can choose, and then LA Knight picked Jimmy Uso, which Jimmy then told LA Knight to find somebody else. And then Jay spoke to Jimmy and told him that if LA Knight asks him, absolutely say no. And that did not sit with Jimmy at all. So Jimmy then found LA Knight and agreed to tag in that match. But we'll put a pin in that. Monday Night Raw officially kicked off with John Cena. He spoke about Brock Lesnar. He hyped up the match. I couldn't care less about that match. He gave a bunch of reasons why he's the real last champion, and it has nothing to do with being champion. And all these people, Meltzer and Lance Storm, I saw a bunch of people. They didn't listen to what he said. It's not a knock at Cody Rhodes. It's not putting anybody down with championships. He specifically said it has nothing to do with the championship. At this point, in my take of it, he's a champion for WWE. He's always been there. Like, does that not make sense?
I agree.
So,
I know.
But yeah, he hyped up WrestlePalooza. The first match of Monday Night Raw saw Lyra Valkyria pick up the victory over Roxanne Perez, which Raquel ended up getting kicked out of ringside for. So Lyra Valkyria was able to take over there. And I actually thought Roxanne would win, but Lyra actually gets the victory there. Raquel ends up attacking Lyra afterwards. And that's when Bayley returned. She did Hugger Bayley moves, and she stopped.
Yeah.
She hugged Tess. She hugged Corey, Alicia, Jess, some fans. But the Hugger Bayley is not back.
Well, debatable.
I don't think so. Later on, Lyra Valkyria approached Bayley's locker room, and you could hear Bayley arguing with somebody, you would think. And Lyra walked in, and it was just Bayley sitting there by herself on the couch. She thanked Bayley for helping her, and Bayley ended up yelling at her. So half of the Hugger Bayley is there.
I mean, it's just all of Bayley is there. You know, you have the Hugger. You have... I would have popped big time when she called her an idiot if when she walked away she made like a... I would have popped. It wouldn't have made sense, but I would have popped if she made like a Michael Cole reference.
Like what?
Like when she told... I don't know, but like how she was just like, all these fans are, you're such a idiot. I could have been in this room with a guest and this and that. Like, I kind of was waiting for her to say, like, this is something that Michael Cole would do or something like that.
It would be funny.
Just because of how that character of Bayley was going after Michael Cole a lot.
Yeah.
So I would have popped for that. But, yeah, Bayley is having some split personalities over there now.
Yeah.
But next up, you had Penta pick up the victory over Kofi Kingston. This matchup was a solid matchup, and then the Mexican Destroyer for the win.
I didn't think this match was going to actually happen. They fought before the match, but I liked Kofi did a frog splash off the apron to the outside. I thought that was good. But the match did eventually start. Grayson Waller got involved. Xavier Woods got involved. And in all that, Kofi Kingston tried to pin Penta, and he turned it into that springboard Mexican Destroyer. Like you said, I'm like, that was awesome. I'm still such in awe that he and Phoenix are in WWE. So I think that was definitely, I hope that people remember that ending of that match because that was a highlight. And then later on, New Day ended up attacking Penta. It was announced this week that Andrade was released from WWE, which I think is very shocking.
Very big news.
There's like a lot of small details, but not enough for me to talk about. And like immediately he's feuding with MJF. That's weird to me. But I really wish this wasn't the case. I'm such a fan of Andrade, and I hope he's okay. But with Penta being taken out by New Day, maybe this is where we finally see the Lucha Bros in WWE.
That's interesting. I remember seeing somewhere about that potentially happening too.
Like you can't have three on one at this point.
No.
So
that's true. It could be that. I don't know.
But
next up, you ended up having a great in-ring segment with Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and AJ Lee. And this entire part was so entertaining. And just to cut to it, I love the end of it. I love how Seth Rollins just says that I'm never going to hit a woman, and like pretty much verbatim what CM Punk said to Becky Lynch.
100%.
Verbatim. And then he looks over at Becky Lynch, and she's like, no, that's not part of the plan. I'm not doing it. I thought it was hilarious that they tried to imitate the previous week, but then the entire setup of CM Punk, of Seth Rollins getting in the face of CM Punk, and then as a distraction, he face washes him. He goes chasing him, and then Becky Lynch, after walking away from Seth Rollins because they're arguing in front of everybody, because she wasn't on page. Apparently, she was on the same page because she got right back in the ring. She hit AJ Lee with the what is it? The Beck Exploder?
Manhandle Slam.
Yeah, that one. The Manhandle Slam. And then I love the part of CM Punk and her. She just starts slapping him again. Yeah. And as they're rising from their knees to getting up higher and higher, she's just slapping him. I thought that this was very entertaining.
Yeah,
what did you think?
Was. Very much so.
Yeah.
After that, we saw El Grande Americano pick up the victory over Dragon Lee, which I thought this was a great match. I'm still very happy that we're getting to see all these fire matches with these fire matches with Dragon Lee. The suicide dive spot onto the commentary table I thought was great. The chops that both of them were doing were great. I like that both of them tried to remove one another's mask. But then another Americano got involved, which Dragon Lee kicked out after that. And then AJ Styles got involved. Commentary sold the second Americano out. And they were like, he's under there. And then they were like, why did you sell him out? I thought that was really funny. But another Americano showed up and took AJ Styles out. The other one came back, and El Grande Americano won with a really nice submission. I thought that was a very nice finish to that match. And then the three of them did the Spider-Man gimmick. Rightfully so, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we saw the
you're
Judgment Day
right.
celebrate Dominic's win at Worlds Collide. But Finn Balor was very hesitant because of El Grande Americano. And JD asked Dom what El Grande Americano wants in return. And Dom was like, can't he just want to help us and not want anything in return? So Finn Balor and JD McDonough end up kind of annoyed. They left. And Raquel and Roxanne eventually left as well. And then Rusev walked in and said that he's the next Intercontinental Champion. I don't think so, but it looks like we're going to be seeing Rusev versus Dominic Mysterio.
What I really liked with this was Rusev being like wanting to shake his hand and be like, I want to introduce myself or whatever he said. And Dirty Dom's like, my hands are full because he was holding the championships.
Right, yeah.
I thought that was awesome. That was a great comeback.
We saw...
But next up, you had Stephanie Vaquer pick up the victory over Kairi Sane.
Which stemmed from a backstage segment. A hilarious backstage segment. Where Asuka... It seemed like Asuka was going to be in the match and she nominated Kairi for the match instead. This is one of those matches I wish we could have seen at like an NXT TakeOver. It started off slow, but it picked up big time. There were signs of respect from Kairi to Stephanie Vaquer, and Asuka was not happy with that at all. She yelled at Kairi a lot during this match. I liked Kairi reversing a move from Stephanie Vaquer with that DDT. She hit 2 spinning back fists. And Vaquer ducked the third attempt. She ended up taking Asuka and Kairi out at the same exact time. And then eventually gets in the ring, hits the Devil's Kiss, hits a new SVB. It's now a butterfly lung blower instead of the package neck breaker. Kind of. With an asterisk.
Mm-hmm.
So it hypes up the match between... Well, it just puts Stephanie Vaquer over there. And then Asuka went to get in the ring afterwards, and Io Sky ran down to stop Asuka from doing anything. And she calmed Asuka down and shook Stephanie's hand. And backstage, Asuka yelled at Io. Kairi kept trying to hold her back. And Io was like, I need to do this on my own. So it seems like we're going to see Asuka maybe cost Io the championship, and then we'll see Asuka versus Kairi. Asuka versus Io. We'll see.
I mean, I feel like that's what they're pairing up to, and I'm excited that Vaquer is involved with this too. I really want to see like something like Stephanie Vaquer versus Io at some point.
I mean, that's happening.
I mean, Asuka. Like Vaquer and Asuka would be great. But next up in the main event of the evening, you had the Vision pick up the victory over LA Knight, and Jimmy Uso. Braun Breaker, he's a superstar, you know.
The match, though, I don't know. It's kind of like a SmackDown main event, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I feel like I get why this happened, but I could have done without the match. Ultimately.
Okay.
Like, you had LA Knight and Jimmy, I think, held the ring pretty well at the beginning. I did like when LA Knight did his jumping elbow. Jimmy tagged himself in and at like the last second and hit the Uso splash, but that's when Braun Breaker broke that up. When Jimmy went for that second suicide dive to Bronson Reed, I thought Braun Breaker was going to spear him, but that didn't happen, and Bronson Reed eventually hit that jagged edge on Jimmy to get that victory. And then the Vision continued to attack. After the match, Jey Uso ran down with a chair, and LA Knight grabbed the chair, and it looked like he was going to hit Jey with it. But he put the chair down, he shook his hand, and then slapped him hit him with a BFT. I guess to maybe say, hey, we're even. Now we're even.
That's how it's going to seem, but I'm telling you, the night is turning.
It seems like we could see that. But then again, if he did that on Monday Night Raw, is there really a reason for him to do that on, like, show up and help them? I don't know.
I mean, it just adds more fuel to the fire of the potential. You know, especially when you're about to turn heel. Sometimes you don't need that logic fully behind it to just support it, but once you do it, it's a big moment. I think we're going to get that big moment with them.
We'll see.
But next up, you had WWE NXT Homecoming taking place from Full Sail University. Let's talk about that intro. Coheed and Cambria.
Is that who it is?
No. Yeah, that's the Coheed theme song, the original theme song. So I'm really happy that they did that. And one of the big, they featured everybody. They featured Sasha Banks. They featured Bayley. One of the bigger surprises was James. Undisputed Era. You know, one of the bigger surprises was James Storm.
We'll put a pin in that.
You know, he's made a big impact in NXT.
Yeah.
But I thought it was nice that they did include Sasha Banks, though, considering
which people were like,
that she said and stuff.
They didn't mention Sasha Banks. Which
they included her in the intro,
but they didn't say her name.
Oh, jeez.
But the show opened with,
I don't know. I think
it opened
the
with
intro is big enough.
Yeah, I think so as well. Especially because she's not contracted. She's in a different company.
Yeah, 100%. And plus, let's face it, that intro, that you can say all you want, like on commentary, maybe if they mention their name. But I think having your feature, having your picture and image in the introduction of the TV show, I think that says so much right there.
And then I saw,
because that's the first thing that people are seeing.
So Triple H came out. He put over NXT in Full Sail. He put over the fans. He thanked the fans. Shawn Michaels came out, and he put over the current NXT superstars. Triple H kind of like heelishly asked, "What if I want to come back?" And they went face to face. Shawn was like, "We'll have a big problem." And that's when William Regal showed up, and he was like, "War Games." Which I don't know if like that's a joke or not. I feel like that's a joke, but
I don't know.
I
kind of don't want it to be a joke though.
Like I'll put a pin in that. But Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss came out, and Charlotte said that the women always ran NXT despite who was in charge. She put over the 4 horsewomen, not saying Sasha Banks, but I think she said 4 horsewomen or the horsewomen. She put over Paige, Asuka, Carmella, Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss listed a bunch of people. She listed Io, Rhea, Ember Moon was put over. And then people were complaining, well, why did they forget about Caitlyn, AJ Lee, and Naomi? And it's like, this is a Full Sail Homecoming reunion. They weren't part of that fully. So I understand them leaving them out. So
I agree with you.
First match, though, we saw the champions, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, pick up the victory over the Culling to retain the championships. I liked, right before this match, Tatum had a backstage reunion with Lyra beforehand. I thought that was really cool. And ultimately, I wish this match was longer.
I don't know. I thought it was perfectly fine for everything that's taking place for the entire
well,
thing.
yes.
I thought that the timing
when
was
you
good.
take into account of everything that was going into the show, yes, it was a fine timed match, but I would have liked to have seen more. I liked the stuff that they did.
I hear you.
And also, this is a really great match for the Culling here.
I agree.
I popped for the stuff
Next
that
up,
Tatum and Alexa Bliss did with the dolls at the beginning. I liked, did you see the clip of during the commercial break of Charlotte taunting Shawn Spears with the 10?
No, I didn't.
I thought that was really funny. And then
that's fun.
And then backstage, Zarya pointed out that it could have been her and Sol Ruka in that spot, but she hit her with the Soul Snatcher, and then Sol Ruka basically said what you said last week. Like, what do you want me to, like, pause midair? Like, I couldn't see or whatever. Yeah. And they argued a bit. Laney Reed showed up. Candice LeRae showed up. They were talking about the NXT, the Speed Championship.
But this is where it gets spicy.
A horsewoman showed up. Shayna Baszler, who's no longer in WWE, people thought for sure she's going to AEW, showed up and told Zaruka.
I mean, she was just released, maybe 3 months ago?
Something like that. But there was rumors that she was doing stuff in NXT, I thought, like backstage stuff.
Oh, that I didn't know.
I think that was rumored. I don't know. But she told Zaruka that they need to fix whatever's going on.
Yeah.
If we can get Shayna Baszler...
Nice to see. It was what was nice with her was hearing the crowd reaction to her appearing on the screen.
I mean, I let out an expletive. I didn't... Because I wouldn't have... In a million years, wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
But next up, you had Trick Mello pick up the victory over DIY. That entrance from Carmelo Hayes was cool too.
Why?
I don't know. I kind of want him back on NXT.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
But in
match?
regards to entrances, Ciampa had the No One Will Survive. Johnny Gargano had Rebel Heart.
True. I did mark out for that.
Great having
that song again.
There were teases of Trick maybe attacking Carmelo Hayes at one point, but then Trick jumped over and took Johnny Gargano out, and they did work as a team. Trick took the TNA championship at one point, and the referee took it away, which I feel like that really didn't add anything to the match. But Carmelo ends up saving Trick Williams from that meet in the middle. And then he ate a shatter machine. He ate the meat in the middle. Trick broke that pin up. The Miz eventually showed up, hit a skull-crushing finale on Johnny Gargano. And Carmelo Hayes hit that nothing but net to get the victory for their team. So, nothing, Mello Don't Miz are seemingly on the same page there. For now.
For now, For now, it's only a matter of time till Trick comes up to the main roster. Then you get Mello and Trick going at it again.
Miz, somewhat of an NXT legend himself. He was a pro for Daniel Bryan.
True. Very true. Very true.
We had Sami Zayn being interviewed, and he said he was basically overwhelmed being there, and he put Javon Evans over, and then Josh Briggs got in Sami Zayn's face to talk down about Javon Evans. Javon Evans attacked Josh Briggs. It was broken up, and Sami Zayn was holding Javon back, and it told him, basically just forget about Josh Briggs. Focus on yourself. A little, I wouldn't say really passing of the torch or anything there, but like a little, I don't know what kind of moment. Like a sort of, not like an Undertaker sort of thing, but not Undertaker, because he's Sami Zayn and not Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still, I think, do you know what I'm trying to, say? No?
I think so.
Ethan Page picked up the victory over Tyler Breeze to retain the championship. You had El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. sitting ringside for this, so I think that was pretty cool. So I think it was awesome to see Tyler Breeze. A lot of people keep saying that Tyler Breeze getting crickets. In my head, I'm marking out when I see Tyler Breeze, so I'm not hearing the crowd there. Mm-hmm. But he's so good to the point where I really wish that he had more in his career.
Yeah, why isn't he? Was he injured or?
Him and Fandango just stopped being used, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Breeze hit the beauty shot, and Ethan Page kicked out and hit the twisted grin with Breeze draped off the top rope and picked up the victory.
Yeah.
And then we had another moment after this match, sort of like that Sami Zayn moment, like a mentoree sort of situation, where Tavion Heights was sitting there upset about Ethan Page winning, and Damian Priest showed up to give him that pep talk. And he said that at No Mercy, he spoke to Ava, and he got Tavion Heights a North American Championship match. Could we see Tavion Heights beat Ethan Page for that title, and then Ethan Page goes to SmackDown with Chelsea?
Yes, 100%. That's what should happen.
We'll see.
But next up, you had the Grayson Waller effect.
Yeah, Obafemi, Ricky Saints were the guests. And Grayson Waller spoke down to both of them, which I thought was really funny. And Oba told Ricky Saints that he's underwhelmed with Ricky. And he said that Ricky's just waiting to get called up so he could carry Cody's bags on the main roster. Which is an interesting line to say. And then Ricky questioned what Oba is without the championship, and he said, "You're just a college athlete." Ricky Saints brought up getting rejected from WWE 8 years ago, and now he's here. And then Trick Williams came out. Grayson Waller was like, "You should do Trick versus Oba next week for title versus title." Grayson Waller said that TNA is only relevant because he's now saying TNA on television. And Oba said that he's taken the title. A lot of TNA talent were speaking out, I guess, against NXT this week.
Yeah, that Twitter was getting really hot with all those TNA wrestlers.
If there's not an invasion next week, I'd be shocked. That's how that match has to end.
I don't think we're going to have an outcome.
We're going to be seeing an invasion. We have to.
I agree.
I
agree with you. I think we're going to have that invasion.
We had no quarter catch crew backstage, and Ren was talking to Charlie about a fresh start, and Dempsey said that he's going to go to Japan for a month to refocus. And then Bobby Roode showed up. They did him dirty here, man. They didn't play the crowd sound. So he's just like looking back and like waiting to hear the crowd or whatever. There's like nothing there to it. But they end up playing Glorious, and Ren Sinclair was like, "Oh my God, this is just like Joe Hendry." And then Joe Hendry showed up, and Bobby Roode said as a former TNA champion, it made him very happy to see at WrestleMania to see Joe Hendry walk out with the TNA championship. But now that he's in NXT, he needs to focus on winning another championship that he once held, alluding to the NXT championship. I don't think Joe Hendry's in NXT, though, so I don't really know. I mean, that's foreshadowing, perhaps, but...
Mm-hmm.
So, and I thought it was funny because people were like, if TNA is invading next week, they're going to have to jump Joe Hendry, too. Because he's literally there every week.
They have to.
He's literally there. And then...
Do we see what side is Joe Hendry going to be on? TNA or WWE
who knows?
Or NXT?
And then you had Dark State interviewed later on. They've had all their problems with Joe Hendry, so that pisses them off. But they did say they're not worried about Joe Hendry. And then Montez Ford showed up, and they said that they need to worry about the targets on their back. He also made sort of like allusions to Dawkins not being there with him. I guess being split. So we'll see what happens further with the Street Profits. After that, you saw Lexis King come out, and he's like, who better to celebrate with than Lexis Homecoming King? And he said the black and gold era of NXT is overrated, and so that those stars of the past no longer care about these fans. But he cares about these fans. And he was beaten last week by Miles Bourne. It was captured on that GTV footage, whatever you want to call it, NXT Anonymous. And he mentioned a lights out match that they're going to be having for next week. And then the lights went out. Finn Balor showed up. Miles Bourne showed up and dropped Lexis King. And Finn Balor, with his original NXT theme song, hit the coup de grace on Lexis King. And celebrated in the ring with Miles Bourne. It's really...
And this entire... The fans were loving this entire segment, and I'm so happy to see that we got the old Finn Balor back. Like, when he threw out his arms for that...
The difference from the roster is crazy. Heel up there, face down there.
Oh, I know. Right? It just makes no sense, but I'm all for it, because once he threw his arms out, you're like, yeah, this is the Finn that like we want.
Which is the same thing with DIY. So
yeah, 100%. I agree with you.
And then
next up, we had the main event of the evening. Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vaquer, and Lyra Valkyria picked up the victory over Fatal Influence. And this entire matchup, the crowd was so hot during.
It was supposed to be Tiffany
this
Stratton. She was not cleared.
Oh yeah, true.
Also,
true.
Bianca Belair sat in the crowd. People were pissed off that she was advertised for this, and that's all she did. I feel like maybe kind of rightfully so to be pissed off at that, but I really wish this episode had an extra hour, but the damn news comes on after, so not able to have that.
Nah.
But this match was chaotic, very good. Stephanie and Rhea Ripley both did the Devil's Kiss to JC and Fallon. JC tried to leave, and Lola Vice ends up behind the referee's back, hitting her with the back fist. And then Rhea hit the Riptide to get the victory there. And then it cuts backstage to William Regal, Ava, Mr. Stone, Stevie, Obafemi, and Trick Williams. And those two are staring one another down. Everyone in the back's kind of worried about these TNA tweets. So, like I said before, there has to be an invasion.
Yeah, they gave you every reason to watch next week, and every single. I mean, you named that TNA wrestler, they did it. They put that tweet out there. I mean, what if you're not gonna watch Matt Cardona come back to NXT? Like all of these wrestlers that were posting.
I mean, Santana, the Hardys.
But then, exactly. But then, I mean, this plays with my Mark dreams so much because since William Regal mentioned War Games.
Exactly. That's why, like, it could be NXT versus the main roster, but it can also freaking be TNA versus NXT in a War Games, man. That'd be amazing.
Dude, forget that. I would do all three of them.
I don't see how
you do TNA.
Did they
NXT?
I think WCW might have done a 3-team one once.
They did. WWE did Survivor Series with NXT, SmackDown, and Raw.
Not War Games.
That wasn't a War Games? What was that?
What do you mean? When did they do War Games? Is a cage match. That's like 4 on 4, 5 on 5.
That was just what was the NXT
just Survivor
SmackDown
Series.
Raw match?
Survivor Series.
That was just regular
Elimination
Survivor Series?
Yeah.
So then I would do the three of them in a War Games match. Give like an hour to the matchup itself, but how much fun would that be?
I mean, yeah.
It would be cool.
So that is NXT. Moving over to SmackDown. It opened up where Michael Cole said that he got some breaking news or whatever. Brock Lesnar wanted to do the interview that was supposed to happen later on. Right then at the start. So he went to go to the back. And Brock Lesnar came out, carried him all around the ring for some reason, placed him in the ring, kind of like roughed him up a little bit. But Corey Graves tried to stop Brock Lesnar from doing anything, so Brock hit him with an F5. Then he grabbed the camera, yelled directly into it to John Cena, went to leave, and then tore apart the ringside area. He hit Corey Graves with another F5 and left. Brock Lesnar backstage saw Paul Heyman and said that they should talk. Miz ended up filling in for Corey Graves on commentary, so I thought that was nice to hear. First match saw Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair pick up the victory over Chelsea Green and Alba Fire to retain the tag team championships. Some of this was chaotic, and I didn't mention it when we spoke about NXT, but I don't want to say both of them are natural selections because Alexa Bliss is doing just like the neck breaker, like the forward neck breaker or whatever. But I like them both doing the dual, I guess I'll just say dual natural selections. But that's how they won the match. You had the Vision attack Fraxium. Paul Heyman spoke Samoan, which was, I think, pretty impressive. And then Fraxium attacked the Vision. Nick Aldis set up a match where the Vision picked up the victory over Fraxium. Not a one-sided match. And I liked seeing Nathan Frazer use his speed in this, because normally in a match like this, you would typically be seeing Braun Breaker do all the speed stuff. But Nathan Frazer is also somebody who's very fast in that ring. There was just no way that Fraxium was beating the Vision. The spot at the end where Bronson Reed pushed Axiom off the middle rope right into a spear from Braun Breaker, I thought was amazing. That was probably the spot of the night. And then he hit the tsunami to get the victory there. Nia Jax came out afterwards and she said that she's the alpha female of the division. And I popped big time of her making fun of Tiffany Stratton, because that's a similar voice that I would use to make fun of the IWC. But she basically said she'll annihilate Tiffany Stratton. She'll annihilate Jade Cargill. Tiffany Stratton came out and spoke to Nia Jax, and she went towards the ring, but officials held her back, and then Jade Cargill came out and took out some of the security. She went to fight with Nia Jax, but security, more of them showed up to hold her back. And then Nick Aldis made a triple threat match for the championship for next week's SmackDown. After that, you had Sami Zayn pick up the victory over Carmelo Hayes to retain the United States Championship. Part of me wants to say, surprisingly, Carmelo Hayes, he controlled a lot of this match. And I liked Miz being that cheerleader for him on commentary. But Carmelo was very impressive in this match. I liked another really good spot on SmackDown, that super kick spot from Carmelo Hayes to reverse the haluva kick. That was truly amazing. That was a very nice super kick. And they did a good job at making it look like Carmelo could actually beat Sami Zayn. But Sami eventually hits a big boot. He hits a Blue Thunder Bomb, picks up that victory. To close SmackDown, they did the Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre contract signing. Cody brought up how it was 15 years to the day that he and Drew McIntyre won the tag team titles together, and nobody was talking about it. And he also called Drew McIntyre a keyboard warrior. And Drew showed him his phone and said, "Thank you, Cody." He said all he wanted was a one-on-one match. No outside interference. Nobody screws him over in a match. And then Drew McIntyre, after the contract was signed, cheap shot at Cody. He went to do that Claymore into the commentary table, but he stopped and he said, "This match is happening tomorrow." And Cody then continued the fight. It was broken up. They kept going. And Drew McIntyre ended SmackDown on top. So that was SmackDown. Going to do predictions for WrestlePalooza taking place in Indianapolis, Indiana at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Home of, I believe, the Pacers. Advertised on t-shirts is Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax versus Jade Cargill for the championship, but I don't know what's happening with that. We're recording before SmackDown, so anything could happen. But you have 5 matches. John Cena versus Brock Lesnar was announced to be the opening match. Thank God it's not the main event. People are like, they're doing this to go up against AEW. Could be the case.
Yes, because they care that
Because
much.
the main event of AEW at that point would be technically probably John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. It's possible. Who knows? I'm going to say John Cena.
I'm going to go John Cena. For sure.
Tag match, the Usos.
Next up, let's go.
Taking on the Vision.
Yeah. I'm going with the Vision. One night, going to cost them the matchup.
I'm going to say the Usos here.
I'm going the Vision. Mixed tag team matchup. CM Punk and AJ Lee. AJ Lee making her return to the ring in action in, over 10 years. Taking on Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. You got to go CM Punk and AJ Lee, no?
I would say so.
Yeah.
For the WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes defended the championship against Drew McIntyre. I'm going to say Cody Rhodes here.
I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes as well.
And then for...
Next up, you have the Women's World Championship on the line, vacant right now. Io Sky taking on Stephanie Vaquer. I'm going to go Stephanie Vaquer.
I'm saying Stephanie Vaquer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our predictions for WrestlePalooza. Going to take a quick little break, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And if you want to check out a podcast, I said if you want to check out a podcast, check out Markin Out, tough guy. Ho!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out episode 763. Moving back to AEW Collision from last week, it opened up with MJF, who spoke about Mark Briscoe, and Mark Briscoe announced that at All Out, their match will be a tables and tacks match, which I'm kind of surprised that they have not done before, because it's literally a TNT match. But Mark Briscoe ended up sneak attacking MJF from behind. They brawled. MJF escaped before Mark could do the J-Driller on the tacks. On Dynamite, he played a video of Tony Khan, of MJF yelling at Tony Khan, and Tony Khan in like the most monotone sort of voice, but like elevated monotone. And Tony Khan, you could just tell he's like reading whatever he was yelling. That was something to hear, but the match is still on. You had Takeshi to pick up the victory over Anthony Bowens. I think the outcome of this was sadly predictable, but I enjoyed the match. I really liked when Anthony Bowens went for the leg drop bulldog. Takeshi reversed it with a poison rana, and Bowens popped right back up and hit that bulldog, and then fell down. If you're gonna pop up after a move, I feel like that's how selling should be, in my opinion. Later on, Big Bill defeated Max Caster, and then afterwards, Big Bill called Eddie Kingston out for All Out, which got made. And then they backtracked on Dynamite, and they said, if you show up. I honestly can't believe that after being off of television for over a year, that you're making Eddie Kingston return in a match against Big Bill. That's beyond to me. But you had Jerry Lynn speak to Anthony Bowens about perhaps somebody missing to Anthony Bowens, and then Max Caster bumped into Bowens, which led to them brawling, and then Jerry Lynn yelled at them and put their singles run down. I really don't know how I feel about that, but Blake Christian and Lee Johnson came out to talk down to Jerry Lynn. They attacked Jerry, and then Max tried to make the save, and then Anthony Bowens made the save, and Jerry Lynn raised both of their arms, and they both backed off. And I think it's interesting, but I really wish that they had a big breakout sort of role for Anthony Bowens. I've seen him since the beginning. He's too good to just not be used to his full potential. You had Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, the Triangle of Madness, pick up the victory over Harley Cameron, Chris Statlander, Jamie Hayter, and TJ in $500,000 10-woman tag. Tony Storm did commentary, which was as annoying as the match was. I feel like the ending of this was abrupt. Anna Jay got a hot tag from Jamie Hayter and then immediately lost. Chris Statlander and Tekla brawled afterwards. Jamie Hayter joined in to attack Sky Blue. Mina Shirakawa and Queen Aminata ran down to brawl, and then Tony Storm got involved. All of this is just continuously so lazy. Yet FTR pick up the victory over Adam Priest and Tommy Billington, which I'm torn about this getting a rematch so soon, but they killed it again. Like, FTR should 100% be champions. There's no doubt about that. And this is what, to me, this is what tag team wrestling in AEW should be. And they're not even, right now, they're not even close to the title scene. You had Okada pick up the victory over Michael Oku. Not airing a real video package for Oku, I think, was a big mistake. Because I know him by name, I don't know him. I don't need to see a video of Tony Khan in the back of the stands marking out for the guy. That shows me literally nothing. That shows me that Tony Khan is a fan of Michael Oku. I'd say this match showcased Okada more than it showcased Michael Oku. And Okada has been quite boring. Maybe that's why Oku didn't get a real video package here, because the focus is not on him, it's on Okada. I don't know. Main event saw the Death Riders pick up the victory over Paragon. Daniel Garcia wrestled like he was Hacksaw Jim Duggan in 2007. Lost his luggage, perhaps. I feel like he couldn't have looked like a bigger nobody if he tried. Between the boring Death Riders and the horrible officiating in this main event was just bad. Roddy and Kyle, can't say enough great things about them. The match, no. AEW Dynamite kicked off Hangman Kyle Fletcher having a contract signing. Hangman said that he sees a lot of potential in Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher said that he's the best to ever step in the ring, and he's going to win the championship at All Out. I still think it's very stupid that there's zero focus on the TNT Championship that desperately needs to be built back up. And immediately the first thing that they do is put him in a feud for the AEW Championship. That does nothing for that title. Yeah, John Moxley pick up the victory over Roderick Strong. This basically started on the outside. There was a stare down at one point between Roderick Strong and Marina Shafir, which is something I thought we were going to see on Collision, but I think that was interesting because based on commentary, it almost seemed like we're not supposed to know that they're married. I don't know what the deal is there, but as far as this match goes, I would have liked to have seen this match in like an NXT TakeOver setting, but Kyle O'Reilly and Daniel Garcia got into it, and it kind of went into the ring. The referee was distracted with that. Wheeler Yuta was late to grab Roderick Strong's foot, which led to the end where John Moxley choked him out. You had Bobby Lashley pick up the victory over Toa Leona. I could not have cared about this match less. Like the first match, the partners got involved outside. At times, this match was sloppy. Bobby Lashley had him in the Hurt Lock and won off of that, but he wouldn't let him go. Everyone got involved. I didn't get him passing out while holding onto the referee's shirt. I didn't like that. But MVP knocked Ricochet out. That was quite comical. You had FTR and Edge and Christian have their face-to-face. FTR came out with a lot of security, and then they stayed out of the ring. And Stokely said if they get touched, then they get fined and the match is off. And I liked the history part of this that Cash spoke about. I liked Edge's promo. Although Edge to me kind of came off as being bitter that he's no longer in a top team like FTR is. Some of this I felt like could have been cut. I feel like it went a little bit too long. But Christian finally swung. Edge joined in. Security jumped in. Dax got busted open. The match is still on, but I don't know. Unless I misheard Stokely. Maybe he said he's going to try to get it canceled if they swing. I don't know. Yeah, the Young Bucks pick up the victory over the Bang Bang Gang to advance in into the match at All Out. I liked the neckbreaker combo that the Young Bucks did, but obviously they were winning this match. It's the Young Bucks. You had Mascara Dorada pick up the victory over Beast Mortos to advance, which this was an entertaining match, which it did have some messy spots, which I think commentary did a good job at covering up those spots. But I was surprised that Mortos lost this. Maybe it makes sense that Dorada got to move on to that match, but I was surprised. You had Okada come out afterwards. Takeshita showed up. They went face to face, and Dorada took Okada out, and then went face to face with Takeshita. I don't know who's gonna. I feel like Okada's gonna still retain the championship. I hope not. I really hope not. You had Toni Storm come out, and she spoke about her reign and said that it's been a long time. It's been the time of her life if she loses. but they're going to basically have to burn her body to the ground to get it. I think it was very goofy when Jamie Hayter showed up and Chris Statlander showed up. They all held on to Toni Storm's hand to cut a promo. And then Tekla showed up. Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander both disappeared. And then at least this led right into the match where you had Tekla pick up the victory over Queen Aminata in a no-holds-barred match. I don't know, this was not the right match for a go-home show where Queen Aminata's, she has absolutely nothing to do with this women's championship match. She's in a random 8-woman tag match. This should have happened a few weeks ago. Queen Aminata's shoulders, of course, they were up for the pin. They didn't really get to do enough in this match for me. But Tekla afterwards yelled to Toni Storm. Toni jumped her. Jamie Hayter jumped in with Chris Statlander. The Triangle of Madness jumped in. Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir jumped into the segment. They whispered something to Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander left. And then Toni Storm took the Triangle of Madness out by herself. Jamie Hayter stopped before hitting Haterade on Toni Storm. The women deserve better. They clumped them all into one segment. They didn't even mention the fact that 8-woman tag match was happening. Queen Aminata literally just disappeared. Triangle of Madness was out there. They're in the match as well. You had Jet Speed pick up the victory over the Patriarchy to advance, whatever they're being called now, I forget. This was just bad officiating. Very bad officiating. Kill Switch ended up leaving Kip Sabian by himself, which, what does that do for the faces? Winning 2-on-1 makes them look bad. And that's not the first time AEW's done that. I hate when they do that. You had Riho pick up the victory over Robin Renegade. Mercedes did commentary for this. All I've been wanting for months is for the Renegade twins to be with Mercedes. I understand why Riho had a match, but this doesn't do anything for Riho. Robin Renegade's last match was March, losing to Mercedes, and she's never had a televised win. What does that do for Riho? Congrats, you beat somebody who literally never wins. And then Mercedes attacked Riho afterwards. The main event saw Hechicero and Josh Alexander pick up the victory over Top Flight to advance to that ladder match. Having a bunch of lower mid-card guys in that main event is absolutely insane to me. Also, if you thought Top Flight was moving on, you're a moron. The Don Callis family showed up afterwards to fight. Jet Speed showed up to fight. The Young Bucks and Brodito showed up to fight. This was just garbage to me. And then of all the ways to end it, Hangman comes out to fight with the people who never win. And then Kyle Fletcher came out to attack Hangman. The Don Callis family came back. Kyle Fletcher suplexed Hangman off the apron through a table. Who honestly believes that Kyle Fletcher is going to become a champion, become the world champion at All Out? The placement, I think, of everything on this show, September to Remember. Named after the ECW, November to Remember. With the logo that looked like WCW Uncensored. When I saw that logo and name, I literally thought it was a joke. I thought it was an AI joker or somebody doctored a photo or something. The placement of everything on this was bad. Ending it with a bunch of mid-carders, lower mid-carders, was trash. The fact that it was almost 2 hours into this 3-hour event before a women's match took place. Awful. This episode sucked. This episode was not a good go-home show. It's a lot. They shove everything into one segment, always. So that's AEW Dynamite, and I guess also they called it Collision. Gonna do predictions for All Out, taking place Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Scotiabank Arena. I don't know. There's a lot of matches here. You got that 8-women tornado tailgate brawl. Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, Willow Nightingale taking on Megan Maid, Penelope Ford, Triangle Madness. I'm going to say Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, Willow Nightingale. Daniel Garcia taking on Shibata. Daniel Garcia, the Ops taking on the Workhorsemen. The Ops. I don't even know when that got made. That's ridiculous. You have Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, Edge and Christian taking on FTR. I'm going to say FTR. Hurt Business taking on Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. I'm going to say the Hurt Syndicate. Mercedes Moné defending the TBS Championship against Riho. Mercedes, Darby Allin versus John Moxley in a coffin match. Darby Allin. Tables and Tax match. Mark Briscoe, MJF. I have to say MJF here. Women's World Championship on the line. Toni Storm defending the title against Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, and Tekla. I'm going to say Chris Statlander. If it's not Chris Statlander, I will be very, very disappointed. She's tried so many times for the past 5 years. It needs to be now. The AEW Unified Championship. Okada, Takeshita, Dorada. I thought this was a fatal 4-way for some reason. But, yeah, I feel like Okada, unless Takeshita pins Dorada, and that leads to Okada versus Takeshita, let's say Takeshita. Takeshita's probably a way better champion than Okada regardless. You have Big Bill versus Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston. Fatal 4-way ladder match. AEW Tag Team Championship on the line. Bro Dito taking on the Young Bucks. Jet Speed and the Don Callis family. I'm going to say Bro Dito retains. And then for the AEW Championship, you have Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher. If any member of the Don Callis family interferes, then Kyle Fletcher is DQ'd and stripped of the TNT Championship. Adam Page. Come on. So, those are predictions for All Out. Hey, Brandon, got any shout-outs?
Hey there, Hef. We should listen to Brandon's shout-outs.
Lilo and Stitch gets the first shout-out. The live-action remake is now out on Disney+, and I finally watched it. I thought it was really well done, and I enjoyed the movie. There are some differences from this to the cartoon, but I really don't think it affects how the movie is. I think it's great that Chris Sanders, who wrote and directed the original and also portrayed Stitch, is back as Stitch. I feel like you can't do the movie without that Stitch voice, so it was good that he was able to reprise his role. Tia Carrere, who was in the film originally, she was the voice of Nani, but she portrayed a different role. She was a social worker in this movie. Jason Scott Lee, who voiced David in the original movie, was in this. Amy Hill had a cameo in this as well. I think Maya Kealoha and Sydney Agudong do a good job at bringing the characters of Lilo and Nani to real life. So if you have not seen it on Disney Plus, check it out. My next shout out goes to Only Murders in the Building, which is back for its 5th season. I think the opening scene was absolutely brilliant. I really wish that all the episodes were all out so I could just sit and watch it all at once. And I can't say enough how great this show is. This season adds a bunch of people. You got Renee Zellweger, Logan Lerman, Christoph Waltz, Keegan-Michael Key, Beanie Feldstein, Diane Wiest, Jermaine Fowler, Bobby Cannavale, who I think does a really great job at portraying characters that you like to hate. But all the episodes of Only Murders in the Building Season 5 should be out, I think, before November. So check it out on Hulu. My last. We spoke about it last week, but now it has to be an anti-shout-out to 2K. Because in order to obtain the TNA AJ Styles card, the Persona, you need to unlock a minimum of 4 cards from a new pack. And statistically, the only way that you're most likely ultimately going to get that is if you spend money. There are people who are unlocking it by just having luck. But I fed all the stats to ChatGPT, and they estimated that you could either play 15,000 matches to farm enough My Faction points, or you can pay about $1,800 and maybe get the cards.
That's insane.
I'm fine if the game is difficult to a certain extent, but to me, this is just gambling. It's predatory behavior that should be illegal everywhere. It's illegal in some countries. You're already paying over $100 for a digital copy of a game, not even a physical copy anymore. You shouldn't have to spend anything more to enjoy the full game.
I agree. Awful.
So what was once a mark out moment of the week, last week is now an anti-shout-out. And then they announced Goldberg.
Boo.
They announced Goldberg and Nikki Bella will be unlocked from the island, but you need to spend 50,000 VC in order to start the quest. Which you don't have to even do the quest, but you just have to go up to them and talk to them. You have to spend the 50,000 VC. The only way to earn VC if you don't have online play is by doing quests in the chapters. There's not another chapter out. There's no possible way to get enough anywhere close to 50,000 VC by doing stuff. You can buy the VC, which the closest price to 50,000 is 67,500, which comes to $19.99. The full DLC pass for 5 packs for 25 characters is $39.99. So that's about $1.60 a character. This Goldberg and Nikki Bella pack is about $7.40 a person. Tell me that's fair.
That's not.
It's such garbage. It's so bad. And like I said, anti-shout-out.
There's so many other ways to go about doing that stuff, and it's just so crappy.
It's not fun. It's not fun anymore. It's really not fun. And, like, I should be celebrating. They just have the New Age Outlaws come out. Victoria, Mark Henry, D'Lo Brown. They're all great. Although Victoria has the wrong entrance. She has the Nicki Minaj theme song, but every entrance part of that and the character and everything is the tattoo. I don't know why they couldn't just give us the knockoff tattoo theme song, but yeah, so it sucks. So those are my shout outs. Now it's time for
Our
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our mark out moment of the week. You covered it with the NXT Homecoming, the video package, which James Storm tweeted. Does that mean, will we get James Storm as like a team captain of TNA? He only had 2 matches.
I didn't think of that.
He had 2 matches in NXT. Why would they include James Storm in that video package other than to have him be like, oh wait, James Storm, and then he shows up as part of Team TNA?
I mean, maybe it was part of a rib.
I don't know.
You know, maybe him and Bobby Roode. Maybe it was a rib from Roode.
I don't know. But I popped seeing that. The roar of the crowd, like you said, the opening video having that. Really, ultimately, a lot
of that I marked out for.
Yeah, a lot of the NXT Homecoming stuff. The only other thing that I marked out, they were doing a bit on the Tonight Show when Jimmy was in Detroit. So him and Higgins were doing something with the Lions mascot, and they came out to the Holly Cousins theme song. So I always pop hearing that song used in other projects because it's not a WWE track. It's just one of those production tracks. So marked out for that. And you have anything else? No, right?
No, let's take it home.
That is episode 763. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 everywhere. Chris Sweendog, CM2085, David PTDBT, Facebook.com/MarkinOut, YouTube and Instagram are MarkinOut11, ProWrestlingTees.com/MarkinOut, TikTok at Markin Out. You could see my freaking video that got ripped off by TKO. The freaking TKO themselves ripped off my Sabrina Carpenter Bianca Belair video at Markin Out on TikTok. You can rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, markinout.com, and we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Have a fantastic week. All right.